Oh, I have people saying hiya, hiya now. I don't know where that started. Oh, I do know where it started. I used to watch cartoons on Saturday morning when I was a kid, and there was a show that was called Andy's Gang. And he was a guy who got on the radio. It was not television yet. We didn't have that yet. We were watching, or not watching, listening to Kermit. No, it wasn't Kermit. What did he call it? Oh, your magic, twang your magic twangy, froggy, or something. and the frog would say, hiya, 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 hiya. That's all. I just lifted it from there. Hey, my name is Joey. I'm on the radio for a number of years and on television for a number of years. And those numbers are going up. And I think that when we have lost a lot of the comics, there were a lot of comedians back in the age. We didn't have irony. We weren't ironic. We weren't just talking about the news. The news was something that was serious. The comedy was, sometimes we would make fun of the news, but you had to be very careful. Now everybody's making a mistake. Who was it, Madonna? What did she do? She had some naked girls come out on the stage. Anybody who's trying to get attention and wants to be famous because they have gone over the top. I want to tell you what happened with me. I did that. I had a very big audience years ago. And when I was a popular #1 disc jockey in the country, I got fired. They're all gone, all the personalities are gone. Jackie Mason gave the finger to Ed Sullivan. I think some of them stayed on. Buddy Hackett he was just outrageously dirty. Johnny Carson, I love what he did when he was in the nightclub. He was great in the club. He would come out with a card table on his chest with suspenders, And he said, well, this way you can recognize me, because he's always behind a desk, It was funny. People were funny. They made you laugh because you'd say, oh my God, But now it's ironic. It's like Bill Maher doesn't know whether he wants to be funny or he wants to give a message. And you can't do both. Jesus did not do stand-up. The Sermon on the Mount was not stand-up. Moses was not screwing with the top 10 like America's Got Talent. We all have had our day of growing up in history, and my particular time hasn't happened yet, but I will grow up soon. I promise you. No, I can't promise you that because I almost died from about 3 months ago. Can you believe that I fell on my head and it didn't make a difference? I used to work with Barry White and at 20th Century Fox, and I got a Grammy Award from Ecstasy, not from him. I mean from the Grammys or the Gimmies or the Grab Me's. So he was always on my back because I made him crazy. He wanted to be Frank Sinatra on occasion. But he was Barry White. I mean, he didn't have to be anybody. He was funny, and he was outrageously large. And I got in trouble with him a lot. So I would make comments to him. And he wanted to have a fur-covered album cover, where it was Barry White with fake fur on the album cover. I said, people look like they're going on a bear hunt. So he says, I think you was dropped on your head by your mother when you was a baby. Years later, Barry's gone. I love Barry. But he's gone, and you know what? I think I dropped on my head by some mother. It's me in Harlem. I got dropped on my head. Can you imagine that? I think Barry orchestrated all of that. I should have done that fake fur cover. I would have been better off. So what's going on with all this stuff? Why are we always in politics? Why, the election is held every single day in this country. Why? I'm tired of it. I'm tired of these guys who have had their hands in the cookie jar. We are always on this case of finding the perfect person to run the country. And there isn't one. Have you noticed? There's nobody good to run the country. That person's not here. So we probably should go with that space shot. Boeing was having one today. You know, the Boeing people who they couldn't keep the door open on a Alaska Airlines plane, but they're going to go to outer space. I don't think I would be one of the astronauts to sign up for the Boeing experiment. The government used to do all of this stuff, but it was actually started by the Russians. They had Sputnik up there. That's what they called it. That was a satellite. We got all of our scientists from Russia and Germany. Not all of them, but a lot of them. Well, we had Einstein. You know, we got some good people. We really attracted good people. What happened to those days? Now they complain. You know, when the Cubans invaded Miami in 1960, I was on the air there. Whammy in Miami. I was a radio talk show. No, I wasn't even doing talk show. I had Howard Cosell. Howard Stern wasn't here yet. Howard Cosell in one ear, and I had Larry King in the other ear. Larry was a comic. He was the funny morning man. Howard thought he was funny until he got his ears boxed back by Cassius Clay. Muhammad Ali, excuse me. But anyway, I was in Miami in 1960. I was a kid, and all of a sudden, all these Cubans came over because they hated Castro. We all lined up and realized that he had duped us because we thought he was a hero and was going to be very pro-American, but he turned out to be very pro-communist as the time went on. I don't think that was his intention at the beginning. I don't know. Anyway, he was the guy, and so we had a country invaded by Cubans where they actually changed the language because we were not speaking Spanish as a second language. Now everything is multi-language, but it's not really multi, it's bilingual. We speak both English and Spanish as a rule. That came because the Cubans came over and they took over Miami. You know, Miami used to be a place where there was old ladies in fur coats in July sitting on the porch waiting for something to happen, showing off their New York jewelry. It was just not good. I said jewelry, not jewelry. Jury. So they came over and they changed the language. That happened in 1960 and it evolved. And now Miami's very Cuban, very, very Spanish, you know. And they even have, even the mayor is Cuban, I believe. Now, when we had this invasion of people from Guatemala and Mexico, and they come over here, we get mad at them. We had the same thing happen in 1960. So what city do we want to turn over to these immigrants that are terribly abused all the time? Someone says they come here and we give them our medical stuff, we give them cell phones and a credit card. Very simple. Let's go to Guatemala and re-enter. That's it. Hey, I would be the kind of guy that if I was given that, I would ask, is it a Galaxy or an iPhone? You know, I mean, I'm fussy. And you get to a point where you really are spoiled. I'm spoiled. You know, when you're spoiled, listen, my daughter went to school for troubled teens for 5 years. It was really for troubled parents, but they don't tell you that because if you're going to get a parent to pay $50,000 a year, you're not going to tell him he's going to school for troubled parents. He'd have to go to school for mental illness if he thought he was there for that kind of money. But you know, the daughter of mine, my one daughter, went to that school, and she graduated by consensus after about 5 years. So it was very expensive to go to that school. And the school is now closed only because the founder of the school passed away. And it was the state of Massachusetts that didn't want that there anymore because idiots. That's why. We need that school now more than ever. We have more troubled parents than on this planet at this point in time. But maybe we don't. Maybe I'm just thinking that because communication is so sharp. We're fast about everything. We can communicate easier, better, quicker. And maybe that's what it is. It's like crime in New York. They say crime in New York is up. And someone said, it's 80% down from what it was in the past. Where do they get these facts and statistics from? Probably from prisoners or lawyers. I think we have a different kind of society than when I was a kid. No kidding. But I think when I was a kid, we were different than the one before us, and before that, and before that. It's always going to evolve into something else. Otherwise, you'd be going out with the pilgrims. You know, we don't shoot the Indians now. We just go to their casinos and they shoot us. No, we shoot dice at the casinos. We have a good time in our country bitching. This is bitchorama. People love to complain. They want to complain about everything here. And the worst thing that's going right now is that I'm on too long. And that's what I was known as in China when I was on the air. I was known as on too long. It's a Reynolds Wrap